Okay, next we will start this part of promise, which is async and await. These are also very two important things, but related to promise. In the meantime, let me understand, like you are doing the parallelly Spring Boot. So don't neglect this one, because after Spring Boot, we are going to start Angular. So in the meantime, I would like you to keep on continuing with the practice on JavaScript. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Are you doing that practice, or you have stopped? You have to do it right now. You have to do two things, both in Spring Boot, what we are learning through the recording, as well as you cannot neglect JavaScript at the same time.
Yes, sir.
Both of them should be there.
Yes, sir. Doing both I'm doing.
Like take this, like there is an exam after 2 months.
Also have some.
Okay, there is an exam after 2 months, so you cannot neglect any particular subject. You have to keep on studying all of them parallel. Okay. And within another 2 months, you should be ready for your interviews. At least by then, you should be very good in Java, very good in JavaScript, very good in GSP Servlet, very good in Spring Boot, very good in TypeScript, very good in Angular, very good in React. That's all. That is what nobody can compete with you. I can assure you. Okay. Let's see how far you can progress.
Sir, I have some question regarding the previous session.
Who, Santhan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So actually, when I fetch any URL, so if it's valid, then it's showing course policy and something, and it's executing the reject.
Well, no, you are doing what? You are doing it in JavaScript. Is it in
Yes, sir,
JavaScript?
Yes, sir, in JavaScript.
You are executing which part?
Actually, the previous of this code, the execution.
Previous of this.
Showing.
This part, these things.
No, sir, the fetch part. The previous session, the
Okay, the fetch.
Yes, sir.
This I said that this will always come to this catch, because
no, the,
before
the
that
previous one, a small code. Yes,
this one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, what it is giving any error?
Yes, sir. When I put a valid URL.
Okay, then what it is saying?
Then then it says that it cannot fetch.
Okay,
Fail to fetch.
That, see, that it is a. This is one part of course. That is the course is cross origin references. Cross origin references means if that particular site has prevented you, that means that particular URL, you will not be able to fetch anything from that. That means there is a security that has been inbuilt. We will discuss on course. Okay. But that I will do only when we are in the Spring Boot. That is in the back end. You are trying to do some REST API from that particular site. Okay. But that site is only meant for few valid subscribers or something like that. If you are not a subscriber, you will be stopped at that point. So you will not be able to use that port or that particular application or that particular service. That is the cross origin references. You are seeing this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
This is the CORS technology. I can restrict. If I have not given this, if I have, I am only restricting this particular application with this particular port. That means this I'm allowing it for the React, or I am only allowing it for the Angular for this particular port, whichever is trying to access with this 4200 or 3000. 3000 is for React, 4200 is for. I can block it. If I do not allow, nobody can use my REST controller or the REST APIs. Okay. But that is a different topic.
Yes, sir.
So because that was a valid URL, and that URL has a this is a restricted site. You are external to that site, right? You are not subscriber to that site.
Yes, sir.
So you will not be able to directly access it. So that is disallowed. Unless I have allowed you by using this. That is a different topic altogether. I will close this. Let us come back. So did you get it? I can only use, I have what did I do? I'm sure that this site is not available. Just to show you that this is the catch thing. Because this site doesn't exist at all.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that was the issue. Fine. Now let us come to async. Async, the word async before a function means one simple thing. A function always returns a promise. This is an ordinary function. But this function, if you append an async with that function, prepend, then this function becomes a asynchronous function with this term async, and it, you know what is promise? Promise is always asynchronous. Like RxJS, it will say that you can have an observable object. Observable object because observable objects are only asynchronous objects. That means the status of that object or the events of that object keeps on changing. At that particular moment, you want to capture that particular event. That's why you have to subscribe to any such events. If you are not a valid subscriber, you will not be able to subscribe to the objects from the promise or the promise services. So observable objects which promises an event will not be available to you unless you subscribe to it. That we have already seen. How do you subscribe? You subscribe with .then in JavaScript. You subscribe with .then and with .catch and with .finally. Isn't it? With the
yes, sir.
But similarly, a function, you can denote that function as an async, and by doing that, you can return a promise object. Return a promise object. Otherwise, you cannot. That is a simple funda. And then you can capture that promise, or you can subscribe to that and get the result, whatever that. Okay. You are now, the other values are wrapped in resolved promise automatically. For instance, this function returns a resolved promise with the result of 1. That means it's a success. We can test it. So we are saying function prepended with async, and we have given a name to this function as f. what we are doing this, we are returning, because we have given an async, we are returning a promise object. We are saying promise, and the promise, it is always returning a success. So whenever you can use this async function whenever you want to return the success. What you can do, you can say for any event that has happened, like the fetch. Fetch is an event, right? So that fetch you can combine with the async function f or whatever you want to give, such that you can return the promise with a particular message. That is another way of doing it. But then you remember that this is an async function. Let us run this. And after this function, we are calling this function, and we are subscribing to that, whatever the event of that function, the return of that function, because we know that return of the function is a promise. And since f is an async function, we can try, and we can subscribe to this event and with an alert message. What will it alert? It will say that the promise returned with success. Let us try this.
Sir, what is append and prepend?
Append, if you had given something like async here, though you cannot give, this is called append. Append means adding to the end.
Append is adding to the start.
Prepending, you say, you are saying prepending. Prepend is adding to the beginning, and append, you append to a file. What do you do? In a file, there is something which is written already there, and you want to add after the end. That is called append. And in prepend, you say, I want to add, there is a file, I want to add a line in the beginning. So you say you are prepending a line in the file. And if you want to add something in the end, you say you are adding or appending something, appending. And appending is adding to the end, after the end, or to the end. Like it is push and pop. Push and pop. You are pushing and then popping. You are popping from the beginning and pushing towards from the end. So async function, async anything, that means you are defining the type of the function. The function is of type async, asynchronous. Only when the function is asynchronous can you return an asynchronous promise or observable object. Okay. So let me run this. Success of promise. So you are alerting. Because here you are returning the, now if you say, or better to say, you say return promise, what do you say? Reject. And failure of promise. Then what do you do here? Will you use then or catch?
Catch.
So catch, what is the syntax of catch? You have to catch an error and give a expression. Okay.
Catch error Lambda function,
Catch, error,
lambda function, and that's arrow function. Sorry,
yeah, lambda function. Fine, that is fine. And then
alert error,
alert,
error.
error. Okay, let us see. Then I have to, okay, let me have both the then as well as the catch. Let's see what happens. Failure of promise. Okay. But this failure of promise is coming from this alert or this alert. Okay, first of all, let me close this and try this.
I think first alert.
Is it the first alert?
No.
See, this is a reject. This is a reject. It is a catch condition. Right?
Yes, sir.
So it must be from the catch. You are subscribing with a catch. Otherwise, you will not be able to access the object, the observable object, which is the promise, which is an asynchronous object. So you are calling an asynchronous function with a catch because it has come out with a promise of reject. That's how you do it. Otherwise, there is no distinction between. So this is from the catch because there is an error. There is a rejection, sorry, failure. Failure of promise. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So either you say this one. Now you cannot have two returns from one single function. Can you have? So think logically. A function is returning you some async object. Hello? হ্যাঁ অনির্বাণ আমি তো ক্লাস নিচ্ছি তুমি তো আছো নাকি না নেই আচ্ছা নেট তোমার আসছে না ওকে ঠিক আছে তুমি ওই রেকর্ডিংটা দেখে নিও হ্যাঁ সাময়িক হয়তো কোন ইজ ইট হটস্পট মোবাইল হটস্পট আচ্ছা ওকে 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 Okay, so now you are having, I have given two returns. Is that possible, first of all?
No.
It cannot be. You cannot have two returns in one function. Success of promise. JavaScript is so lenient that it is, oh, success of promise. Okay, fine. It will not come to this. There is no syntax error, but this will not, this will return and it will come out of that function. That's all. This will not be executed. If it is, you cannot expect this to run. That's why it is giving success of promise because you have this. And what happens if I understand that it is returning a resolve and then I only have a catch? What will happen?
It will not print.
It doesn't do anything. because this one is having nothing, no output. Because it cannot, for a resolve, it cannot go and catch because there is no error. The promise has has a success status. So you cannot do anything with a catch. You cannot subscribe a success object with a catch. You have to use then. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if it
Yes,
is,
sir.
if it is reject, you cannot come here. Okay. Failure of promise. Let us have reject. Okay. We are seeing whether it is from the then or it is from the catch. We just run this. Failure of promise. Okay. It is not still understood whether it is. Oh, I cannot do that. Or I need to use the plus sign. Yeah. Failure of promise from catch. That means we are sure that this is coming from the catch, right? You can use this similarly from dot then. It cannot. It is always dot from dot catch. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting some confidence on promise and catch and on the subscription of the promise with dot then and dot catch? Then is for success. You are subscribing to the success object, observable object, and for error you are subscribing with a catch. Clear? Now we come to, okay, what now the question is, if I treat this as a ordinary function, not with an async, so what will happen? Failure of promise with dot catch. So it is still working. Okay. I have taken out that. Did I not save it? Yeah, I saved it. Yes. Maybe I have not saved it. So see, I have taken out the async. Now it is returning a resolve with the promise. But it cannot do it. I mean, even though I have a dot then, still it is not getting, you are not being able to subscribe to it because the function itself is not an asynchronous function. So this function cannot return a asynchronous object called promise. You're getting me? Let me run it again. Okay. We say open in default browser. It doesn't give anything. Because you cannot return a promise from a synchronous or a normal function. You have to make this, sorry. You have to make this async. Then only this promise will work. async, and then what happened to that? Just 1 minute. Hello? Hello? Yes? Yeah, speaking. Actually, I'm in a session, ma'am. So sorry. Yeah, sure. You can. Okay. Sorry. Now the problem is why I'm not getting. I have given async, ASYNC function F, return promise, resolve, success of promise. I'm saying alert. Oh, aha. Yeah, actually this alert syntax was not correct. So okay, let me try this one.
I think need resolve variable.
Resolve. So it is coming here. That's fine. I wanted to.
So then here like response then
Okay.
arrow
You have to say something like a result or anything. Just give a lambda expression. Then only it will work. Okay, let's try this. From then. Now, did you see the importance of lambda expression? That the entire thing you cannot directly use within the format of then or any function like this. So what you are doing, you are intelligently doing you are creating this object, okay, result or error, and then putting the entire function or the whatever this alert is returning into this result. Then only you can use it. I mean, basically you are giving a handle. This one is a handle. You are handling this particular output. That's all. Now it is working. So remember this syntax. So you are using a lambda expression for your rescue. You are not being able to do it because I was not being able to simply using alert. I was not being able to give this particular message with the resolve. I was only getting from dot then. Now, as I have given this output of the resolve in this result by using this mechanism of lambda expression. Are you getting me? Even if you don't understand, try to practice yourself. That is the utility of using a lambda expression. This is an expression. That means you are assigning. You are assigning And that assignment has a reference to this particular operation. So this is a pointer, array pointer. And then the result will hold the address of this, whatever the event that has come to the memory. So it is pointing to that memory. So therefore that memory, result of that memory is printed, alerted. So result is that object, the observable object. Like here, the error is the observable object. Correct? You see the syntax is more or less both of them are same. Here you are saying result and error, and then giving the particular message. Is that clear? Even if you have given this return, so now this line number 324 will be executed. Failure of promise from .catch, right? So failure of promise comes from this reject body. Sorry, from the promise body of message. This is the message. Okay. So can we proceed? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Last thing of this promise thing is the await. Okay, better to put this. Oh, why did I put this? You know, why? Because I need to do a lot of comments. So, and comments like this. So why did I put it under the script? Because this script, you can use this because this is a JavaScript portion. You can use the comments like this. Otherwise, if I bring the script below, that is also fine. My script ends here. Okay. But what will happen here? This is not, this body is the part of, because script happens where? In the body section of the element, of HTML element, right? Though I have not mentioned body, HTML, body and all the stuff, but it is by default because it's an HTML file. Are you getting me? Since it's an HTML file, it is understood that there is a doc type HTML, there is HTML tag. These are the elements. And then there is title, there is whatever the thing is. Then afterwards, there is you can have the body. And under the body only comes the script. If you want to do some JavaScripting. But so which type of, will this work? Will this comment work? No. What is the comment in that case? The comment is with this. Then now it has become green. The comment will always be with an angle and with a exclamation dash dash and ending with a dash dash. This is the comment. Okay, fine. Let me have it in the same in the body. Now, I have okay, await. Await is a keyword which works only inside async functions. Okay. The keyword await is a keyword. The keyword await makes JavaScript wait until that promise settles and returns its result. So like promise is like sort of a thread, JavaScript thread. So you have started an event with a promise. Okay. And that promise is going to return you some observable object, either with a status of reject or with a status of resolve, whatever the status is. It can have only two status, either resolve or reject. But that event might take time. So you have to give the appropriate time for the promise to settle, to finish, complete. Isn't it? Earlier, how we were giving this? We were giving this with a timeout. We are setting the timeout for the entire event to complete. Okay. After that, then only you can use the await keyword if it's within an async function, which will return you this thing. That will return you some promise object. So await will help you to wait for that promise object to complete, promise event to complete. So await literally suspends the function execution until the promise settles and then resumes it with the promised result. That doesn't cost any CPU resources. That is the beauty. It will not take any CPU, that it is waiting. That waiting is also a resource, right? Await is a resource, but it will not take any CPU resource for that matter. Because JavaScript engine can do other jobs in the meantime. Therefore, it is not blocking the CPU. It is not asking the CPU to wait for it to complete. That is the beauty of await, that it does it helps JavaScript to parallelly do other functions. But at the same time, it will await for the promise to settle. So execute other scripts, handle events. That JavaScript will continue with all its other activities like executing other scripts, handle events, etc. It's just a more elegant syntax of getting the promised result than promise dot then. And it's easier to read and write. Okay. What is dot then doing? You're subscribing. You are subscribing only to a promise object when it has finished. But here you have not used any, that you are not using dot then, because by await, you have done both. You have subscribed plus you have waited for the promise to complete. Because then what it does, it waits for the result to be available, whether it's a error, whether it's a failure or a success, doesn't matter, it will wait with then. But here with await, because with dot then, it is a CPU resource. It is using a CPU resource. It is asking the CPU to wait for that time till it gets the promise output. But here, the beauty of it is, here you are doing the same thing as what then is doing, but without taking any CPU resource. And it is more elegant to see that, you see, I can exactly, it is more readable now. Why more readable? Because you are saying that I'm having an async function f, and I'm creating an object called promise with a new promise. This is a promise constructor, resolve and reject. That is what you know. And with a lambda expression, what is the expression of resolve and reject? Is that even if it is a resolve, you have to you're setting the timeout with a lambda expression with the resolve and giving a message with that resolve, but you have to wait, you are waiting for 2 seconds. But see, as you are waiting, this is not waiting till this one is getting done. You are having an alert. So this compiler, the runtime engine, doesn't wait for here. It will go to print the result. But the result you cannot alert unless it completes the promise. This statement 351 have this statement 349 will have a dependency on line 351. Is this good, or that way you are saying alert within the then and this and that? So you are saying result. You can do anything ahead of it, but you can get the result only after the promise completes from this await. So you are doing something within the asynchronous function. You are doing something. You are controlling the thread, controlling the event. Like you have seen the asynchronous and the synchronous thread. Whenever you use the synchronize keyword with the thread, then the thread, that means you are taking a control of the thread. That means unless you remember that we have learned an example in Java, in the threading part, that the counter program. Remember that? You were waiting for that thread to complete the counting, to increase the counter by 1.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that is the same thing that you had done with synchronize keyword. I will ask you to refer to that JavaScript, Java lesson of multiple threading. Okay. You go back today and see that whether you can bring out some similarity between await and synchronize. Right? This await is similar to synchronize keyword of Java. It's doing the same activity. It will not allow other threads to alert you or do something else unless this promise has ended. It is waiting for the result, and you are storing that result into result and then alerting. And here, since you have said that it will be resolved, so it will be waiting for the success, not the reject, because the message is done. Shall we run this? Okay, what happened here? Oh. Okay, let us run this. And after this, you are calling this function. This is simple. You are calling the function. Calling the async function F. Function name is F. Okay? Simply. So what will F do? Whenever you call this function, it is going to this function. It is assigning, it is creating an object of promise, from promise, with these two status, resolve and, these are objects, resolve and reject object. How you are doing this? You are sending this as a resolve only, because any promise can have only one object, the return object. Either it's a resolve or a reject. Now here in this case, we are doing with a resolve. So it is waiting for the resolved result. That is a waiting period given over here. But still, you have given alert. By this time, when it's waiting, it will try to print the result. But it will not be able to print the result unless you have completed the entire 2 seconds. Then it is putting the result. Then it is. Followed?
Yes, sir.
Let me execute this. Reference error. Cannot access result before initialization. Okay. So remember this is an uncaught error. Okay, I'm putting it over here. So what it is saying, uncaught in promise, reference error, cannot access result before initialization. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, now it is working. What was happening earlier was we have initialized this result, but only after you have done this part. So this one, when it comes to this one, executing this one, it is not finding result because this result has not been declared or defined. So undefined, so uncaught. That becomes an error, basically in the JavaScript thing. Because JavaScript is giving, this is not because of the promise, giving an reject. This is not because of promise. The process is now complete. So what I'm doing, I'm waiting for this promise to complete because it's an async function. So I will get something out from that, which is an async, a promise object, and I'm waiting for that promise. Okay. And once I wait and it's complete, then I will result. So in the meantime, you are alerting something else. Just simple alert. But this alert comes before the alert. Okay. Let us try this. Did you see? No, I was expecting till this point, till this thing has not completed. Yeah, that is true because I have waited till the timeout and the promise has also waited. I have not used anywhere the dot then. So still I am getting the result. It is because of this await. Are you getting me? Yeah, this is natural because till it's waiting, it has completed. It will not, otherwise, let's say I am not giving this, but then there is a problem. For the time being, take it like this, that this is waiting. I am not using dot then. That is a more elegant way. That means I am waiting for the promise to complete. After 2 seconds, then only it will be result. And until that point, I will not be able to alert anything. And in the meantime, I am saying that I am waiting for the process to complete. And after the process has completed, okay, let me give the alert before the assignment, before the waiting is over. Because why should I wait for 2 seconds? Isn't it? See, unless I have waited for 2 seconds, I was not getting the alert. But now, in this case, I'm going to get that alert immediately while it was waiting for 2 seconds. Or let me make it, Ajahn, let's find. Just let me check. Yes, immediately it has given me, I am waiting for the process to complete. If I press OK, then now the 2 seconds have passed. But let me give it, say, 5 seconds. Okay. And now when I run this, that means the process has started. Now, are you getting? Are you getting? It is waiting for the entire process to complete. Then only it will give the observable object. So it is good that you say the process has started. I'm waiting the process to come. Process has started. That is how you put it in the log files. Waiting for the process to complete. Or just you say process has started. And the process is now completed. Now complete or complete now. Process started. Then it's waiting for the entire thing to wait, and it's waiting for that. Once it is completed, see, do you see that it's automatically coming, this alert? So that is how in big organization you will write programs where you have to alert or give an SMS out immediately after the process has completed. How will you do that? The SMS is a different thing, but there is you have to write a routine for SMS, but there are utilities to do the SMS messaging. Okay, so but you have given before the process has really started and completed, you have said process has started. That is also a SMS that will go to the user or to the manager, and then or to the process manager. And then when the process is complete, you have to give at that point of time, whenever it is complete, that SMS. Here without SMS, we are doing with alert. Okay. Did you understand the utility of await and async? They work together. Without async, await cannot work. If I take out that async and make it a simple function, what will happen? Nothing is happening. Await is only valid in async functions. Clear message. JavaScript is giving you a very clear message. Await is only valid in async functions and the top level bodies of modules. Modules, you do not worry. We will learn that. Okay. Is this clear? So there is a combination between async and await, and it is similar to synchronize of Java. Is this absolutely clear to you all?
Yes, sir.
Good. We will go and start a new topic today, which is domain object model. Okay, with document.html. Let us start with document. So, any questions before we start this new topic? Anirban, Ashish, Roshan, Shayantan, Subhash?
No, sir.
Okay. I will suggest you to practice a bit. You will get a very good mastery over this promise, async, await, then catch, finally. Okay. These are the 4 things, 5 to 6 things that you have to understand. How to create a promise object, what is the resolve, what is the reject, how do you use a lambda expression to get the result and the error, or how to use the dot then and dot catch and dot finally, and as well as how to use async and await. These are the 5, 6 things. That's all. We come to document. Now, we have come to see document is also, I have put that everything as an HTML. Because everything now is related to browser, whether it is Internet Explorer or Google Chrome or Firefox, anything, any browser. It will have the same standards, and standards, these are standards given by whoever has designed the HTML. So the HTML is sort of a document. It's a sort of a page that you open on a browser. Browser is, you can say, browser is a canvas. And HTML is your painting. You are painting a picture or a document, or you are writing something as a document onto a canvas, and that canvas is called a browser. So browser will have its environment and specifications. Okay, let us start from the very beginning. I mean, even if you know a lot of things, but let us understand from the very beginning. What is that? A host environment provides own objects. Now see, everything is now object. The environment provides objects and functions additional to the language core. So which one is the language, which one is the functions, and which one is the objects? What is the language for a browser?
HTML.
HTML is not a particular, it's not a language. Yeah, you can say it's a markup language, but the actual engine that drives that language is
JavaScript.
Huh?
JavaScript.
Yes, that is the core language. You talk in this JavaScript language to the environment, which is the browser environment. So you can draw or write on a canvas, appropriate canvas, and that canvas is the browser. And you can use a language which is known to this browser, and that language is JavaScript. So what are the functions? Functions are nothing but the JavaScript events, or the browser events, browser events that you are going to work with, that you are going to program, or that you are going to handle the events. And what are the objects? Now you come to this HTML objects, or the DOM objects, DOM, Document Object Model. The web browsers give a means to control web pages. So the browsers are sort of those operating system to control the web pages. Like your operating system is Windows or Linux or your Mac OS. Similarly, they control your whatever the environment. Similarly, the browser gives you an environment which can control the web pages. So Node.js provides server-side features and so on. Don't worry about Node.js. Node.js we will learn in details. Node.js we will have a flavor of Node.js while we will learn the Angular. Just remember, this is the server side. And the server-side features provided by Node.js will control the web pages. Okay, forget about this line number 7. No need at this moment. Anyway, root object. What is the root object? Root object is a window, or you can say a browser window. When it comes to web, web. So that browser is the root window, a root object. Everything is an object. And DOM, what is DOM? Is the document. And the document is, a DOM is nothing but document object model of window or the browser. And what is BOM? And BOM is the browser object model. So you can say a window will have a document hosted over a browser, right? The browser is nothing but the BOM is the navigator, the screen, the location, the frames, history, XML, HTTP request, and all those stuff. These are the BOM objects. These are the objects of the browser. And you can write it because you have a DOM object of the BOM. DOM of the BOM. And JavaScript will help you to manipulate those objects, which is the DOM object and the BOM object. BOM basically, those are the events that you are going to handle, browser events. Okay. And that object, array, functions, these are provided by the JavaScript to handle the BOM and the DOM. We will start with the DOM, document object model. What does the document object model say? Now let us execute this part of a let us execute only this part. So I'm saying we are giving a JavaScript only. By default, that means that we are in the HTML, though we have not mentioned, like I said, the doc type, the HTML, the header, the title, or the body. And after the body, only the script appears, because the script is a child element of body. Body is a parent element of, these are called elements of the DOM object. This is also an object. Script is also an object. You can create these elements. If you can create something, it is always an object. Do you agree? So this has been created. The script that you are writing, that means you are calling this tag with a particular name. You cannot give a name like scripting, because that is not a part of that DOM object. This is not a valid DOM object. That is not going to work. You have to know that the DOM object is like your doc type. Now this is one object. This is another object of DOM. Then this is under HTML, you have a header. And under header, you can have a title. Okay. And outside the header and after the HTML and within the HTML, sorry, you can have your body.
Those called tags also.
Tags, yes, HTML tags. And within the body, you will have the script. Then you have to, of course, close the body, close the HTML, and this is the root document. So you do not need to close it because that is the parent of all objects of the DOM. But here, if you do not mention, doesn't mean that they are not present, because after all, this is a DOM. This is part of the DOM. So they are, even if you don't mention, they are there. Correct? And script, we have started with script, but this script is under body and body is under HTML and HTML is under doc type. That is all. So each of these elements, which is called the tags as well, these are the elements. Elements are the objects of the DOM model. And within this, I'm writing a JavaScript because I have given the element script. So this object understands whatever you are writing within this, nothing but these are JavaScript. This is part of that language, which the DOM understands if you include that within script. Otherwise not. If you do not say script and you say, I have commented this, okay? I have commented this. Now, do you see the color has changed? It's all white. That means this is error. Okay, we are trying to execute this. I'm opening in the default browser. See, it is just printing directly on the browser. It becomes only a text because you have not included that in what? Under the script. So it is not a JavaScript. It is simple text. It is simple text. See, under the body. See, did you see one thing? That this HTML, head, body, and if you go down, the closing of the body, everything. Oh, it is. They are picking up everything. So this is directly printed over on the browser, which is the document object. But that is not our purpose. Our purpose is this is a function of JavaScript. So I have to include that within script. Okay, now this entire thing becomes a Now this entire thing becomes a JavaScript. From here to here, you are creating a function called say hi, and you are giving an alert, hello. Then you are saying global functions are methods of the global object. So what is the global object? Script is the global object. So when you say that you have defined this function within the script, so this becomes a global function or a global method. Now, when you say this dot window, now this is everything is an object. So you used the this as a referring that you are using this window, and in that window there is a function called say hi. You are calling that say hi. And also at the same time, so say hi, what will it do? It will alert, give a message hello on the alert box. Another you are giving this is alert the browser window height. Now window being the object, it can also, you can use this method of window to say inner height. That is, you want to display the height and width of the window.
Sir, what is this dot window dot say hi?
Like you have learned about this in Java.
Yes.
So what does this mean?
This means that the function.
No, this is not a function.
Instantaneous.
This is just a
Instantaneous.
a keyword which will help you to, like the static. So instance variable. Here there is no variable. Here you are referring to a object, and that object is qualified. This is window is the root object. So you are saying window. That in this window, this means under this script only. It is not referring to anywhere outside. So whatever is referred by this document, this is particularly a hierarchy. That there is an HTML doc type, then HTML, then there is body and the script, and then all this closing body and the closing HTML. So this is the entire structure of this document. For this document, I am representing this window. And from this window, I am calling the global function called hi, say hi. Okay. And also, because entire thing is a browser, so within the script, so I am also alerting. I wanted to understand what is the height and width of this window. So this window being an object, I can use a dot, and then I will say inner. I wanted to understand the inner height, the height. So I will go inner height. So this is one method, or whatever you say, you can say a method which will give you the height of that window, this window. And also the width. Let us run this, you will understand. So basically you are saying that this browser is a window. We have just started. We will learn this. First of all, we are saying hello. And then we are saying browser window height 730, and the width is 50. I have to modify the and width window width is window width. First of all, we are going to say hello, because we are calling this say hi from this window. So we are printing, alerting hello. We are saying hello. After that, the browser window height is 730 and the window width is 1536 pixels. 730 pixels is the height and the width is a bit bigger than the height. So this is the height from here to here, the visible height. And the width is this from this to this. It is more than double. So this is the window of the browser. Browser is this is the canvas. So browser is the canvas. And the window, you have occupied the maximum width of the window on the height of the window. The entire browser window. So that is the document. The browser is the document. And here you are using the, okay, you are asking if I do not give this, right? Will it work or not? What do you think?
It will not.
It will not, basically why?
So how will it understand that what is that window?
So, but it is a window is global object, so I think it will work.
No,
Not
it is,
sure.
we are saying about the global function. This becomes a global function because you have, in this script, you have defined the function within this script. So this function is not going to be available if you write another script. So if you have enabled this script, will you be from, if you are trying to say this window dot say hi from this script, will it be able to access this?
No.
Yes, in the entire HTML coding, if you have one script only where you have included this as a global function, then it is fine. Anywhere from that HTML you can access. But if you have you have written another JavaScript. Now this is a different object. This script, whatever you are writing is you are writing from this window, I mean this object. So this will not be able to, you will not be able to call this say hi from this script, JavaScript. So, okay, let me say, hello, browser height window. So it doesn't make any difference because whether you put this or not, because it is a single script. This is a single script. So but it is always convention, better to say that, because there can be hundreds of scripts within one HTML document, one DOM. In one DOM, there can be so many scripts. So how will you say that I want to use a particular function within this script? Okay. Or if you want to say, just say, without giving this, will it work? I'm calling, say hi. Can I do that?
Yes.
Till now, what you have learned? I can still call a function like any other ordinary function. So I do not need to, but it is always a convention, good convention to say that I am using this window, this browser, this window See, can you see how many events are there? These are the BOM events, BOM, B-O-M, that is the browser object model. In this, you have all this. In this browser, you will have all these events on double click. on queue change, on drag, on whatever, on close, on click. On click is one of the famous. You are clicking on some button or anything, anywhere of the screen of the browser. So that event is an on-click event. On mouse, on mouse. There will be so many things. On load. On load is when you are loading something on the browser. Did we not check that on load function?
Yes.
Yes. On load event. Sorry, I will not say function and event are the same thing, but functions you cannot handle. Event you can handle. And these events are the JavaScript events of which object? The BOM. Okay. On blur, on click, on change. You are changing something on mouse. Yeah. See, on mouse down, on mouse enter, on mouse leave, on mouse move, on mouse out, on mouse over, on mouse up. So these are mouse events. We will see all these things in the events handler. So this browser or the window, and I have a function called say hi. I'm calling that function. Just simply calling that. And I am also trying to find out the height and the width of the browser or the window. Window is the root object, and that is nothing but the browser. Is this clear? This part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Small examples we will do and then we will reach our destination. That is I always give importance to that strategy. That small examples can clear your doubts much more than if you start with a complex program. That will never, you will just get entangled into that loop. You will try to come out of that and you will not be able to do it. So better to understand very simply. Like in promise. Promise is a very difficult subject to understand, because you have not actually got to know the application of promise. We are doing with the alerts only. But actual use of promise you will see when you are going to learn Angular and React. Now it is very difficult to make you understand. But didn't you understand it? Because we have done with some simple examples. That made your concept clear. Isn't it? Ashish, Roshan, Sayantan, and Subhash?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That will help you. Because right now you are not going to learn Angular. You are not prepared for that. Okay. Similarly, we are going to learn all these DOM and BOM objects and things. So second example, let us use this example to understand what is happening here. So we are inside this, we have commented out, and this is the BOM. Okay, before that, I will give a comment. Okay, so let us have this one example. You may not worry about this use trick, but then it's fine. The entire thing is within the script. So that means this entire thing is a JavaScript that you understand. Fine. Then within that, I'm giving a comment saying that we are trying to understand document object model. The document object is the main entry point to the page. Whatever you say, page is just a concept. Page is a sort of a canvas. But the document object is the main entry point. We can change or create anything on the page using it. Therefore, this document is an object, because we can manipulate the object and whatever the elements of that object. As I said, this is an element we can create it, we can change it. In our previous example of promise, we have seen that we have created dynamically. There was some example. Yes. Here we are creating this element, isn't it? We are using the DOM model document as the root document, and we are creating an object, child object of the document, which is script, using create element. That time we didn't understand. Now we are going to understand that. You see that the DOM specification explains the structure of a document. As I was saying, the document will definitely have a structure. And that structure, there is a root entry point, and that is the document. That's why we say doc type. We are saying the document object type is HTML. You give a tag. But then that is the entry point. So document object is the main entry point to the page. We can change or create anything on the page using it. The DOM specification explains the structure of a document and provides objects to manipulate it. There are non-browser instruments that use DOM too. Don't worry about this particular thing right now. Example, change the background color to red. What? See, when you go to a browser, this entire thing is a body. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Body means it is a container. So that is an object. And that object will have, that body object is nothing but a part of the document. Because the document is nothing but the browser. The body is happening on the browser. On the body, you can write HTML texts, or you can have a button, or you can have a text box, or you can have a, but everything within the body. Because if you are creating a form, they are Zoom united. Now this is a text with a particular font that is appearing on the body side. And again, the body, you can have the body replaced by the initial, the header section, the title, and this and that. But that is coming outside the body. There can be a footer. A footer is outside the body. So initially, if there was no footer, no header, so the canvas is entirely a body. Here there is a header, right? You are seeing this header. This is also a header, but this is called a navigation bar. This is the title of the header, or no, not title, it is the header text. This is called a header. And this one is called the navigation. So through this, you can navigate. You can call a page. Okay. And whenever you say, you can set the language. So this is a part of a menu, or whatever you can say.
Yes, sir. Navigation button.
Navigation buttons. Yes. You can navigate from this page to the other page. If you see, another page is going to get loaded. So this page has happened. Now this page is coming with another header, another navigation bar, and all those stuff. Okay. So can I say that this header with the navigation bar are part of the body?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
No. Why shall I call it a body? The body is the part. Let's say here also, this is a navigation bar. You're getting the menu, some items, getting started. So can I say this is a body? Suppose you want in Angular, what you do, it's a single page application. That means this everything you want to get it same for all the pages that you call, and all the pages that you call will be flashed dynamically onto this is the footer. This is the footer, let's say. Oh, maybe no, not the footer. This is the footer. The entire this gray section is the footer. The entire thing that is scrollable, you see? Are you being able to scroll? See, as I scroll, is this thing changing? Is this thing changing?
No.
No, sir.
No. Then you come to the end of the page and end of the body. Then you come to the footer. Footer is also not going to change. You see, the body is changing. So this portion is the body portion. So whenever you are scrolling the body, you are not scrolling the footer, neither you are scrolling the header and the navigation bar. They remain the same. So whenever you are calling something like contact support, I have clicked on contact support or nothing. So let me say getting started. Did you see that the page has changed, isn't it? The page has changed, but did it change? All this thing, the header, the zoom and everything remain the same, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Only one thing has changed. This is the body has changed. Are you seeing the footer has changed? No.
No.
So this is a single page application. Single page application. The body is changing, but the entire infrastructure or the structure of the DOM, I will say that particular design is remaining the same. It follows a particular design. This is the header section. This is the navigation section, but this is the body section where you are changing the dynamic content. And this is the footer section. So all this will come as part of the object of DOM. The header is one DOM object. The body or the navigation bar is one of the DOM object. Then the body is a DOM object. And this footer is one DOM object. But whatever you have under the body, maybe this is something, there must be something. Yeah, see the mouse, whenever the mouse over, this has changed the pointer, mouse pointer. It was ordinarily like an arrow. Now when it goes to here, it becomes a arrow, becomes a hand pointer, because it is saying that this thing is going to, you can click on this, and on click event, you are going to capture some, maybe it will say use and learn. So did you see? Okay, I will click on. Did it change? These things are not changing. Only
The mouse pointer are changing, sir.
And the mouse pointer has changed, but the content of this particular, these are component development, component wise. So this component has only changed. The rest, everything remains the same. Say you want to troubleshoot. So are you seeing that everything is constant? What has changed? This portion has changed. You are troubleshooting. So additional resources will come and they are the same. Again, you go to use and learn. You see, this has changed. So these are the various objects or components that you are changing. Clear? Okay. Now, whatever. Let's say when I open a new page, let's say here it is Google because we are using a Google Chrome. But let's say there is nothing. It's a blank page. So in that case, it is entirely occupied by body, correct? There is no header because you have not created any header, no footer, no nav bar, only body and body by default. Clear? And in this body, you have this, Google has prepared like the page like this. This is a landing page whenever you start opening a new page. Okay. Now, I am trying to change the background color to red. Background color to red of what? Of
The window.
Of the body. Yes, window. The document is the main document, the entry point. Anything, entry point. That means you are referring to this object, and that is the root object. Because we are using the infrastructure or the structure specification of DOM, document object module, and the root object is document. That is the entry point. Okay. So what you do is document.body.style.background. Now, so many this is the root object, and there is an object, the child object. Then this has another child object, and this has another, the last child object. That means this is an attribute of body. I'm changing the style with an attribute of background, and the property is red. I'm saying that I want to change the body style with a background of red. Earlier, you will not be, without knowing this, without knowing the structure, because you cannot start a body without its parent. That is not the structure, the hierarchy. You have to maintain that hierarchy. Then only you can use it. See, this document, this body is a child of this document. The style is a child element of body. And background is the attribute of the style element. And the red is the property that you are setting the background with. Now I want to change it back to the original one, original color, whatever it is, after 1 second or after 2 seconds. So what I'm doing that, you have learned about set timeout, and with set timeout, you are returning something through a lambda expression. What you are doing, you are setting the background back to the original color after 2 seconds. Can we run this example? I think it's simple. You have to just maintain that hierarchy. If you type document, if you start from the root, if you press enter, you will see that body is a child. There are so many other things, but remember this body is the immediate child of the document, if you want to have. And can you understand that there can be another child called. Head. Head is an element. Can I say HTML is an element of document? Like we have said body. Can I say HTML? HTML, and if I say background and dot, you are not ending anywhere. Style, and then Again, you are not landing up anywhere. Background dot. Okay, let it be background, or maybe HTML dot background equal to blue. If I do this, which one will work? First of all, let me do whatever is correct. Then we will come to that. Let us not confuse initially. So I know that body is a child of document. So I can use document and body, and I can change the style of the body with a background of red. And after two seconds, I will come back to the original color. So that is my small JavaScript program. There could be some problem. What is the problem? Document.body.style. Okay. Okay. Maybe there is some reason why this is not working. Okay. Let us proceed. Let us proceed. I'm not sure why it is working. No, why it is not working. But let us proceed. We will find the reason. There is certain reason why it is not working. As we proceed, we will keep this open because this is not creating any problem to us, right? So we will keep this open, and once we want to see the console if there is some error. Yes, uncaught type error, cannot read properties of null. The reading document HTML 40, the style. So there is some problem here. That's why it is in a different color. Okay, for the time being, we are leaving this example. We are going to proceed with something else. It is going to read a null. The reason we will try to definitely find out, but for the time being, let us not get stuck over here. There can be some issues somewhere. We will see why it is not working. Okay. Sorry, here it should be background. We proceed here. This is not creating any error. So let us see this BOM. This BOM is a browser object model. BOM is a part of the general HTML specification. This is part of the HTML specification. The browser object model represents additional objects provided by the browser host environment. Browser is nothing but the host environment for working with everything except the document. So document is something which you use with a document. The navigator object provides background information about the browser so this navigator object we are going to learn more particularly when we learn in Angular. Okay. There are many properties, but the two most widely known are navigator user agent, navigator platform, but then you just overlook this one, this portion. Let us work on this particular just to see whether this one works. So in this script, which is the JavaScript, we are saying location href shows the current URL. Now we are trying to redirect the location reference href to this is one of the objects under browser object model BOM, not under your DOM. It is additional to DOM. These are this location.href. This location is an object of browser. So here we are trying to confirm, because see, DOM is something like your anything. See, whenever you say browser, it is everything, including your tags, your URL, this address bar, this menu, this favorite things. This portion is the DOM. But the entire thing other than DOM is also BOM, because they are also part of your browser. So if my location href, I'm alerting what is the current location href. If confirm, go to Wikipedia. That means you are asking for a confirm dialog box. So go to Wikipedia is just the message, and you will say OK or cancel. And then if you say OK, then you will be redirected to this Wikipedia site. Let us execute this, whether this will work or not. Let this be open, fine. Because these are two different scripts. So one will not interfere with the other. Are you seeing the effect? Is it clear what the example is doing? This
Yes, sir.
example is, first of all, it is alerting me what is the current href. Location href. Location is the object of BOM, BOM. And href is the function that you are calling from location. So href, the reference of the current location is being alerted. So whenever you are running this, you will see the current URL that you are using. What is the current URL? It is document.html is the current URL. And then it is asking me if you want to go to Wikipedia. If I say OK, then it will, you are assigning the Wikipedia URL into location.href. So this object is now having a value. So it will take you to this, open this Wikipedia site. So got it? We were not successful in running this, but later on we are going to see why it was not successful. There must be some hierarchy that we have missed out. We have directly started with script. That is the issue. To use this, we have to come through a hierarchy, but that we will see, understand. So that is an important pointer. Why this didn't work right at this point, but why it will work somewhere else. Okay, that we will explain. That is why it is important to understand why this didn't work. So remember that this didn't work. But here it worked. Here, what is very simple, you are saying that I am in a current location, and then it is asking whether to confirm whether you want to go to Wikipedia site. I said yes. Then it took me to that site by simple assigning the site to location.href, because this object is getting populated with the URL value. So it will take you there. Let me run this again. So first it is saying that my current URL, the location.href, is file D Devashish Ji and document.html, because we are running the document. So this is the URL. So this URL is part of the, not the DOM, but which one? The BOM.
BOM.
The BOM, BOM. So these two terms you should be very clear about. This BOM will have nothing to do with this part. This is the domain of DOM. Whereas, but browser is combined of everything. This is the entire browser. It is not only this part. Okay. So this URL, that is location, is a DOM, is a BOM object. And I'm saying I'm trying to find the location href. What is the reference of the current location? So I'm saying that this is the one. Now I'm changing this. I'm asking, this is the confirm box. It is not an alert box. You see, the style is a bit different. And you are also getting, in alert, you only have OK, right? But in a confirm box, you have OK and cancel. That means you are saying yes or no. But you will always get, because these are given by JavaScript. This is a confirm box. So what you are saying, you're asking whether you want to go to Wikipedia. You say either OK or cancel. If you cancel it, you will go nowhere. You will still remain in the current location. But let me execute this again. I will say OK. And then I say, OK, yes, I want to go. Then that assignment will happen with that click event. Now you see, you have opened this URL, wikipedia.org. You go there. You have said that you want to go to wikipedia.org. Is this clear? This example? Is this interesting?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? So it is all over, the time is up. So what we will do, we will keep this here. This will be on. I will not make it off because this was not successful. We will make it successful later on. But let me, yeah, we have to understand the DOM tree structure. Then only these things will work. Okay, fine. So next day we will start from this portion. Okay. But I will keep this on because we were not able to run this. That is one thing that we have to keep in mind. We have to somehow make the background, the style of the body with a background color of red. That is our task. That is our assignment. And after 2 seconds, we want to get it back to the original color. No color. I mean, basically no color. This was unsuccessful. We will make it successful. Correct? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And in the meantime,
Okay,
we
sir.
have seen one application of BOM through the location href. So in this, you will also do the same thing if you want to call a page programmatically. Call a site, whatever it is. So I will stop the sharing. And only 2% remaining. I don't know why. Anyway, maybe I will
Sir,